All right, we are recording. Thanks for coming, everybody, to our level 2 dressage. And we're going to start out today with just a very fast review of our level 1. So we're going to start with just reviewing the required gear. I added a gear board over here. So for dressage, there are some more specific requirements for the equipment. And if you are missing pieces or have the wrong kind of pieces of equipment, that does take away from your score. So required gear, a black bridle, or you could use a black Pelham bridle, a trees tack dressage saddle, or a SWEM black English saddle, a trees tack dressage pad, or a SWEM white English blanket, a trees tack dressage girth or black English girth, or a SWEM black English girth. You are also required to have a black helmet. It must be black. You are allowed to use one of the armor's helmets that Wolfix made if you wish. And optional is dressage skins or a dressage armorer's outfit, such as the one I'm wearing. When you are at levels 1 to 3, you also have the option of using a light colored or a neutral colored leg wrap on your horse, but after level 3, no more leg wraps at all. So just keep that in mind. I tend to just not use leg wraps ever for dressage. That way I won't ever get it mixed up. All right, I'm going to swing the Discord screen up on our stream so that we can review the levels. So for level 1, some of the moves that we go over is a halt, a medium walk, a medium trot, using the center line, which is the long line that runs from A to C, using the midline, which is the short line that runs from E across the arena to B, using X, which is the exact middle of the arena. Normally you'd use X either at your start for your salute or at your end for your ending salute, but you can also use it at other times during your test. And then we discussed the level 1 moves. So you have a cut, which is a 90-degree turn on the designated line or at the designated letter, going across the arena at on the diagonal, so from one corner to the X and then to the opposite corner. A mountain, which is a shape done from the corner on one side to the middle on the other. I'm scrolling to show that to you. I thought we had. There we go. Here's a mountain. So you go up all the way across and then back down again. And a peak, which is up just to the X and back down. All right, so let's take a few moments. We're going to go ahead and hop on our horses, and we're going to just kind of trot through some of those moves real quick, just as a bit of a warm-up. So we'll just kind of follow the leader. We're going to start out, we're just going to go down the center line. And you can stop for a moment at X, and then we'll continue on down the center line. When we get to C, we'll turn right. We're going to go up to the midline, and then we're going to cut at B across. Let's pause for a second at X again, just because. Across to E, then we'll go left. We're going to go around the top of the arena. And then at F, we're going to start a diagonal. Doing a diagonal across, pass over X, head straight for H. If you'll notice, you're not going to be riding right along the dots. You've got to look up ahead to the next letter. Okay. This time at M, we're going to do a mountain. So at M, we're going to take a turn. We're going to angle ourselves for E all the way across the arena. Do a snappy, sharp turn, head all the way back to F, trying to land yourself at the dot. Turn. And then at K, we're going to go ahead and do a peak. So we'll do a up to the X, snappy turn, back down to H, and that's your peak. Okay, this time at C, we're going to take a right. We're going to go up the midline again. We're going to do a quick halt at X for our final salute, and then we'll trot out of the arena. And that is pretty much all of your moves from level 1, just as a refresher. Does anyone have any questions? And I will get my Discord chat up so that I can see if there's any in there as well. If not, we'll go ahead and start right into our level 2 moves. So back to Discord. We're going to go to disciplines and have dressage up, and for level 2. So here in level 2, we're going to start to introduce the naming for all of these lines that we have on the, or for that make up the arena, as well as some additional moves. So for the lines, this is where your piece of paper comes in handy. So if you want to grab your piece of paper, and I want you to put it horizontally across, so it's like in landscape mode. Put your piece of paper or your tissue or whatever you have in landscape in front of you. And what you're going to do, we're going to do a little bit of folding to our piece of paper. So I want you to take the one side of the paper and fold it exactly in half so that it makes that yellow center line that you can see on my screen. So your center line is the one that goes right down the middle from C all the way to A across the long side, along the long way of the arena. Okay. Now you can unfold that, and you should see a nice little crease down the middle of your paper. What I want you to do now is to pick up the edge, and I want you to fold it again so that the edge of your paper meets the crease, the first crease you made, so that the edge of the paper is along the center line. Okay? And then you're going to turn your paper around, and you're going to do that to the other side as well. So now you should have 3 lines on your paper. The new lines that you just made, you'll see you have 4 pieces, sections. So that makes these new lines are called the quadrant lines. Quadrant or quarter lines. Quarter meaning 4. So you have 4 sections, and that makes up your quarter line. Okay? Now if you unfold your paper again, you should have 3 lines and 4 sections showing. So what you're going to do this time is you're going to take the edge of your paper again, and you're going to make a fold that makes the edge of your paper go to that bottom quarter line. Okay? And you're going to do that to the other side too. And then this one gets a little bit weird to try to fold the quadrant line, but one way you can do it is if you fold your quarter line, your the second fold that we made, fold that one up, and then you make another fold up to the middle, up to the center line, you'll end up with 4 sections on that half of the paper. And if you do that to the other half, you'll have a total of 8. And that's why these outside lines are called the 8th line, because we have 8 sections. Now, that first line that's like next to the center line, the green one on the screen, because we can't really call both the outside line the eighth line and the one closest to center line the eighth line, it gets a different name. So it gets called the wide tier line. Okay. So when you're given a dressage test, it might tell you, after you've done, let's say you've done a diagonal from F to H, and you're going along the top of the arena or the bottom of the arena past C, and it'll say cut wide tier at M. Well, that means it is right after you pass C, those first sets of dots are going to be your cut. So let's come back here in the arena and let's take your piece of paper you folded and put what we've created on paper and figure it out here in the ring. So this line that I'm backing up along, this would be your wide tier line, okay? And if I go over to this one, this is your quarter line. If you think about it, you've got 1/4 of the arena, you've got your second quarter, third quarter, and fourth. So that makes these ones the quarter line right here. Okay, this is your quarter line. Eighth line would be this one. This is an eighth line. This is a quarter line. Who can tell me what this one would be? Yes, this is a wide tier, as is this one. Okay, so let's play a quick game. We'll do a Simon Says. Simon says, put your horse on a quarter line. Good. Very nice. Simon says, put your horse on X. Simon says, let's go to a wide tier. Eighth line. Uh-oh. Simon didn't say. Seth. Oh, good job, guys. But you got the idea. You got the idea. Okay. Our next piece that we want to talk about, I'm going to go back up to the second list. Okay, meter lines. So the meter lines are our shorter dotted lines that run across the short side of the arena. They're measured by fives, okay? So here on the arena, each little dot is considered 5 meters apart. So you would have 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. I'm pretty sure it goes that direction. Or does it go from the other way back? Did I get that wrong? Let me go look at the map. Arena letters, cuts, diagonals, peaks and mountains. Oh, I had it backwards. It goes from the midline out. My bad. Sorry, guys. Don't want to confuse you. All right, so your midline is here. Then this is 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. Okay? And it's important to understand the sizing because you might be asked to do, like, usually it's used in circles, right? So you might be asked to do a 20-meter circle at the letter P. So how do you figure out what a 20-meter circle is? Well, if we know that this is 5, 10, 15, 20, the top part of my circle should be where I'm sitting here, right? And the middle of the circle would be about here. So 5, 10, 15, 20. So if you're going to do a 20-meter circle at P, you're going to, actually, that doesn't seem right. Yeah, go ahead, Beck. Beck's going to map us out a 20-meter circle. Yep. It would go out 2, so it would be this one. Oh, the 20-meter circle is all the way to the, okay. So it ends up being 40 across, basically? All right. Gotcha. So this is half of your circle to the middle. So I'd like everybody to do a nice round circle, hitting each of the banners except for the red one. The red one's just marking where the center is. You can go in either direction, it doesn't matter. Nope, Seth, we're going to go all the way out to here. We're going to go out to the orange banners. And part of your idea with doing these is you're wanting to have your horse nice and straight when you go across those banners. You don't want your horse to be like angled and doing any sort of sharp turns. You want each part of your circle to be rounded and even with the other parts. All right, so a 20-meter circle is the full arena width, basically. And it's done off the radius, as Beck said. And this is one of your level 2 moves, is doing a 20-meter circle. And if you have any questions, feel free to shout them out or type them out. Go ahead. Yes. Yep. Thank you so much for adding that explanation, Beck. It was very helpful. Okay. All right. why don't you bring your horses back around and we will go back to Discord and just make sure we're not missing anything for you guys. All right. So we talked about the meter lines and we kind of jumped ahead to doing a 20-meter circle, which is listed here. But one of the other official moves for level 2 is just very simple, a canter. So you'll be asked to pick up a canter at any time during your test. And one thing to note when you do a canter and you come up to a corner, you're not going to be able to like ride right into the corner and snap it around. So you may want to round that just slightly to make it look smooth and not, choppy. Part of dressage is having your movements look smooth and natural to a degree without, you know, trying to get. And also, if you ride too deep in the corner, it does get kind of hard to like realign yourself to the line you want to ride on. So I would say when you're doing your corners, you would want to no more than like cut the corner like so. If you're, about halfway in between the corner dots and the next dot out. I wouldn't cut it like way over here. That would probably be a bit too far. And as I said, if you ride right up onto that dot you're going to turn on, it's going to make it pretty hard to make the turn and make it look smooth and natural. Yeah, that looked good. Okay. I think we're all pretty comfortable with our SWEM horses and the canter. So our next move that we're going to talk about is the back up. So backing up is not something you would typically see in like a regular real life dressage course, but it does give us an extra element to add to our tests. So when you do a back, you'll be moving forward. Like if you're at a trot and then you're asked to stop and back at B, you'll want to drop to a walk for a step or two, stop, and then you're going to actually hesitate. You're going to do a short hesitation so that the judges can see you've truly stopped your horse. Do a count for maybe like 1, 2, 3. You could even do 4, 5, but don't do like more than 5 and try not to do less than like 3. If you're a fast counter, go for 5. If you're a slow counter, you'd probably be okay with 3. So after you hesitate, you're going to back your horse, and it should tell you how many steps to back up. Usually it's like 8 or so. And you're going to be in third person if you can and watch the back feet of your horse. So as you back up, you'll be like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Stop and pause again. Count in your head 1, 2, 3, and then you're going to be able to move forward again. All right. It does help to be in the third person when you're doing this because if you're in first person, you can't see their you can't see their feet at all. And you'll want to make sure that you can kind of count. When you're doing a freestyle, it's less important because, it's up to you for how long you're going to back up. And usually I use it as a way to help retime my music so that if I've gotten off, like maybe I had some lag, the music isn't working as well with my moves, or I had a mistake and the horse was, you know, had a rear or something like that and slowed me down, I might decide to cut down the number of backup steps to get myself back on track or a little bit closer. But if you're in a test that is given to you, you'll need to be able to back up the correct number of steps. 1, 2. I, back when you do the backup, are you counting like only one foot or the other, or do you like each foot is its own count? Okay. All right, I'll just type that too because, as I said, I'm not recording off from the Discord voice, so and that's fine. I can just you're fine to answer in voice, Beck. I'm happy to type it out afterward. But yeah, so Beck clarified each foot is its own count. So this would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. If you were doing 8 like that. Okay. Any questions on a backup? All right. And we also included that hesitate. So when you halt, stay halted. Don't go to the next move immediately. Stay still for several seconds. Like I said, count to 3 or count to 5, whatever is more comfortable for you. And then you move on to the next thing. Okay, our next move is an actual shape here on our arena, and that is called the short diagonal. So I'm going to scroll down to where it is shown on the pictures, and this is what a short diagonal looks like. You're going to start out on one side of the arena, like at B, for example, headed for B, and then we're going to, instead of going from M to K, we're going to go from B to K, and that is called a short diagonal. So let's give that one a try. We're going to come over here and we'll do it at E. So we're going to trot around this side of the arena. We're going to come here to where this green banner is, and we are going to go across the arena over to the next green banner at M. Thank you, Beck, for putting those out. That is very helpful. Okay, so if you remember, a long diagonal goes all the way across. So when you're doing a short diagonal from starting at H, for example, you're going to go across to B. All right, so continue around a couple of times. You can go, yep, from B over to K, and then from F over to E. You always want your eyes up and looking ahead to that next letter because you're, yep, corner to mid or mid to corner. Yep, you would have started that one at H and gone to B, Stella. But normally you would have done it only if you were yep, tracking that direction along the arena. Yep, now at H, you're going to turn and head for B. There you go. Looking good. All right, we still got a bit to cover, so let's move on into our next one. Our next move is called a hill, and that is a curved shape spanning the full length of the arena. You're going to start from a corner letter, you're going to hit X, and then you're going to go to the furthest corner on the same wall. But the thing is that it's not just straight lines like otherwise that would be a peak if it was a straight line. Instead, your hill is going to be slightly rounded, kind of like a half circle. So so you would be coming along here, you'll come along the corner, and then at F, you're going to make a curved shape to the center line and have your horse kind of straight when you go across the center line like this. And then you're going to have another curved shape to M. It's going to be very hard to not make yourself just go straight to the next letter. So you want to make sure that you're doing a curve, and making yourself go straight across the middle section for a few strides will help you with that. Part of what your goal is with this hill is you want both halves of the move to be the same. So the same amount of curve for both sides. You might even want to try to, like, I don't know, that might be a bit much. Like, travel along the center line for at least, 10 meters or so, and then you're going to curve yourself back down. I'm up in the air. There you go. Yeah, for real. It builds up those little rolls of dirt so easy. All right. And remove all kitties from your keyboard. Yeah, for sure. Does anyone have any questions about the hill? Because the hill brings us right into our next shape, which is called a slope. So what a slope is it's half of it is like the hill and half of it is like a peak. So Nightwolf, why don't you demonstrate a peak real quick? So a peak is you're going to turn, you're going to ride straight for the X. You're going to do a crisp turn, ride straight for the F. That would be a peak. So a hill, as we've just learned, is a kind of curved shape. So we're going to start out here at M with our hill. We're going to do our curve to X, but then as soon as you get to X, you're going to switch into what you did for a peak, and then you're just going to ride straight for F. All right? Yep, so start out with your hill, and then at X, turn and go straight for F. Yep, and you can do that the opposite direction too. So that is another level 2 move that you can do for your test. So it's going to start out as a hill, and then you turn and you go straight for the next letter to make your slope, I believe it was called. Yes, slope. All right. So you guys practice that one for a couple. Start out with your hill, finish in a peak. And that combination makes a slope. Good. Okay. Any questions on a slope? Yeah, if you do the curve on both halves, it becomes a hill. The main thing is half of it, and you could start out doing the straight part and then finish in the curve. That's also acceptable. All right. We're getting down to the end here. Our next move we're going to discuss is called a full moon. And 1, 2, 3, 4. So let me get, oops, I did not mean to close that. What we're going to do is I'm going to grab a new color. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so what we're going to do this time, let me get rid of some of these old colors to make things less confusing. Okay, you're going to start here at B, and you're going to do a nice smooth half circle all the way around across the full width of the arena. So your goal is to make this, again, smooth on both sides. All the way across. And your horse should be fairly perpendicular to the center line when you cross over it. And what we practiced earlier was putting 2 full moons together makes your 20-meter circle. There you go. Good. And practice these at faster gates too. Like Becca's doing a nice job. She's doing some cantering across them because, you might be asked to do these at any gate. For level 2, the fastest you'll go is a regular canter though, a medium canter. Any questions on your half moon? Your full moon, I should say. This is the full moon. Half moon's another one. All right. It's going to make you dizzy. Yep. All right. So let's switch gears slightly and we will take these out. And we're going to do a half moon. All right, let me get rid of these so that it's less confusing. Yeah, Beck's getting us set up. So your half moon is just as it's described, it's half of the size of what a full moon was. So you're going to start here at the B. You're going to angle up to this 10-meter line, and you're going to swing back around to X. Okay? And you could do that in any quadrant of your arena. It doesn't have to be at B. You could do it from E to X, or you could even do one at V and go up to the K line and go back to the midline, or the center line, I should say. So it could be anywhere in the ring, but the size is, you're going to basically go all the way across to the middle, and you're going to be 10 meters away from where you started. Yeah, so that would be half of the 10-meter circle, and 10-meter circle is part of level 3. Yeah, 10 meters in level 3. So your half moon is our last new move for level 2. Any questions? Double check our Discord, see if we've got any questions in there. I see some people have posted pictures of their origami. Nice. Thanks for doing that, Beck. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'll just type that out, what Beck said, so that it'll be on our recording as well, that shapes can start almost anywhere. So the idea here is get comfortable with the shape itself and the size, not necessarily the location of where you're doing it. Yeah, it's looking nice, guys. Feel free to hang out for a little bit if you wish. Practice some more. I will finish up our class here at this point and be watching our Discord for our next lesson because I will probably still try to get level 3 done within the next week or two. And as always, we have our color genetics classes ongoing. Those are usually on Thursday evenings. So if you've been coming to those, thank you. If you haven't, they are all recorded and available to watch. And we will see you next time.